Anthony Joshua says he's going to make a serious offer to Tyson Fury, and if Fury doesn't take it, he'll fight Usyk instead. He's also talked about the prospect of dropping the WBO belt if Usyk and his team insist on fighting AJ next. He's talked about dropping that belt and then fighting Fury. I mean, Eddie Hearn's even talked about dropping all the belts to fight Fury. I think this is a very bad idea. I think this smacks of trying to make as much. I mean, look, a bad idea from a boxing legacy perspective, but from a financial perspective, maybe it's a good idea. Okay, let me just clarify what I'm saying here. Because fighting Fury without any of the belts, in one sense, yes, just a way to make the money out of the biggest fight in the heavyweight division right now. Eddie Hearn is acting like it would be sending a message to the sanctioning bodies that we don't need your belts. So what are they then going to do? Create a new belt? Because you can't have a situation where a promoter just declares this fighter is the undisputed champion and there's no belts. Because there are other promoters and they're going to say, no, well, who says that this is the undisputed champion? You don't run boxing. There are other promoters out here. There are other networks out here. You see? So I understand why Eddie Hearn would say that, but he would have to create his own belt. How many people would respect that belt? The Matchroom World Championship. Or maybe the DAZN World Championship. I don't know. I guess they're still trying to implement the Dana White UFC model in boxing. Somebody's hoping to do that because they've seen how much success UFC has had. Anyway, Joshua's offer to Fury, it's surely going to be 50-50. That's what they've been saying publicly. There's certainly going to be a rematch clause involved. I don't see what could block that fight if both guys won it. Even if they got to have it in a different country, Saudi Arabia, Africa, as AJ's talking about, I don't see what could block it. It's going to be interesting if, and I hope this don't happen, negotiations break down to see who says what and who blames who for it not happening. But hopefully we don't get there. Hopefully we come to an agreement, and if there's 3 belts on the line, it's certainly better than no belts on the line. Okay. But preferably there should be 4 belts on the line, undisputed. And then whatever happens after that, if the belts become fragmented a little bit, it's okay. At least we've got a proper consensus champion where the top 2 fighters in the division have come together, and hopefully we get a decisive outcome one way or the other. Unless somebody gets totally destroyed, like just blown out of the water, then it'll almost certainly be 2 fights. Yeah, that somebody will almost certainly enact a rematch clause. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I know some cynical people are going to look at this headline and they're going to say AJ doesn't intend to make Fury a serious offer. He's going to make him some foolish offer, which he knows Tyson Fury will refuse. Then he'll use that as an excuse to avoid the Fury fight and take on Usyk instead. And they can keep it all in-house at Matchroom. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure if Usyk is still with Matchroom, if that was his last fight against Derek Chisora, or if he's got one more fight. He may have one more. And possibly that could be against Anthony Joshua. So maybe they'll look to go in that direction. And if he did fight Anthony Joshua, unfortunately, Eddie Hearn has got this situation where he forces mandatories, or maybe not, forces might not be the right word, but he's somehow getting mandatories to sign away their right not to have a rematch clause. And I think this is something terrible that people like Eddie Hearn are doing. And the Klitschko's were the first ones I know about who started doing this, where they were making mandatory challengers sign rematch clauses. Normally in boxing, a mandatory challenger doesn't have a rematch clause in their contract. That's one of the perks of becoming mandatory, is you don't have to have a rematch clause. So you beat the opponent, you beat the champion, and then he can just sail off into the sunset and the champion can't do anything. That's the beauty of being a mandatory. Eddie Hearn, in one of his interviews, was talking an absolute load of rubbish acting like, these mandatories who sign with rematch clauses are happy to have the rematch clause. No, they're not. Why would they be happy? And Eddie Hearn's like, yeah, because they get 2 big paydays then. No. They can still get 2 big paydays if there's no rematch clause. Because if you're a mandatory, you beat the champion and the champion's a cash cow and you want another big payday right off the back of that, what's stopping you from giving the champion, the former champion, a voluntary defense, a voluntary challenge, a voluntary shot? You can still do that. It's up to you. But when there's a rematch clause, the former champion has got you. You can't get out of it. You have to fight him again. It's not your choice. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not a 2-way rematch clause. So if the champion beats the mandatory challenger can't then come and say, okay, I want a rematch. No, it doesn't work like that. So what Eddie Hearn was talking about in that interview was just total and utter rubbish, making it out as, oh yeah, it's great for the mandatory challenger. No, it's not great for the mandatory challenger. It only benefits the champion and his promoter and his network. It doesn't benefit the mandatory challenger. The mandatory challenger wants to be able to have options. Yeah, he might choose to fight the former champion again if he wants to, but he doesn't have to under normal circumstances. So to have these mandatories, now signing for rematch clause, this is terrible. Terrible stuff. And if AJ was to fight Usyk, that may well be the case. And that would be a way for Eddie Hearn to be able to keep everything in-house a little bit. And again, some cynical people are going to look at this headline and say, well, that's what that reeks of. That they don't really want the Fury fight. They're going to make some silly offer, then move over and fight. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just putting both sides of the argument out here, people. Okay, it's called being objective. You got to put both sides of the argument out there. And at the end of the day, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what's going on with all the negotiations. I'm not privy to any of that. I'm just trying to, back engineer this from the outside looking in. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.